some breaking news. In the last few minutes, we've had a statement from the King. I'm going to read it to you in full. I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all. And that statement has been signed off, Charles R. Well, let's cross live now and speak to our royal correspondent, Helena Wilkinson, who is at Royal Lodge. And Helena, just talk me through, first of all, before we talk about what the King has said in terms of his statement, talk me through what's happening at Royal Lodge today.
Yes, well, the BBC understands that there are searches currently ongoing in Royal Lodge. Let me just step out from in front of the camera. I don't know if you can make out in the distance, basically the gate where we are. This is where we are allowed to broadcast from. But just beyond that, you enter into Windsor Great Park. You then get to another gate. I don't know if you can make out some sort of pink houses in the distance. Beyond that gate is Royal Lodge. That is where the former Prince Andrew lived until recently. He lived there for more than 20 years. He moved out of the property about a couple of weeks or so ago up to the Sandringham Estate. He moved out under the cover of darkness, and we know that he still, or we understand he still has some belongings here because he was going to come back after he moved out to come back and get some of them. But the BBC understands that the searches are currently ongoing at Royal Lodge. It's a huge property within Windsor Great Park, and just on the other side of the gates that lead to Royal Lodge, that property, we have also seen a number of uniformed police officers. We also understand that they are guarding the scene while those searches are being carried out in Royal Lodge. We also saw a police officer driving in a car through the gates as well. Those searches continuing, and as long as those police officers who we've seen who are guarding that gate, we understand those searches will continue until they have gone. Those searching the property will be looking for various things, of course, computer equipment, laptops, computers, perhaps hard copies as well, while those searches are being carried out. We know that from that statement from Thames Valley Police earlier on today, which confirmed that a man in his 60s, who we know is the former Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, that he had been arrested. Thames Valley Police also confirmed in that statement that searches were being carried out at addresses in Norfolk and Berkshire. Well, the searches in Berkshire are here at the Royal Lodge within the grounds of Windsor Great Park, which is not too far away from Windsor Castle.
Helena, I'm going to now take us back to the statement from the King, because we've only just heard that in the last few minutes. It's on the screen for those who want to refresh their memories, but I will just read this part of it. Let me state clearly, the King has said, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. An extraordinary statement from the King, basically telling us that this is the law and the law must take its course.
Well, exactly, and you'll cast your mind back not long ago when the King put out a previous statement saying that they were, or Buckingham Palace rather, said that the palace was standing ready to support Thames Valley Police in any investigation that they needed to be carried out. But an extraordinary development again following the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor earlier today. That statement from the King, we weren't sure, of course, whether the King would say anything, given that this is now obviously a police matter and that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is now under arrest. and is in custody. But the King clearly felt like he had to put something out, that he had to make a statement about his younger brother. In that statement, let me just read you that top bit. The King says that I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. The King goes on to say, what now follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue, he goes on to say, by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. And he goes on to say, the King, that they are ready to stand by and wholehearted support and cooperation if that is needed. But clearly the King can only go so far now in terms of what he does say, and we've just seen that in the statement that we've had in the last 10 minutes, that there has to be this police investigation, and clearly they won't want to say anything further. Members of the royal family have been out and about on various engagements throughout the week, but you can imagine it will be a very tricky time for the royal family, given the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.